Hi guys. I just wanted to jump up here and do a quick um, intro to what we do here at PinkSlayer Community Outreach. I am Christy Fields, the CEO of PinkSlayer, and we provide a lot of services for the cancer community. Um, Today, I wanted to go through my intro course that we have. It's not long. I go out and speak at various places. I partner a lot with Centera, and I'm hoping to partner with more medical facilities that have cancer patients, men and women. We are located here in Centera, Bell Harbor, 3920A on the Bridge Road in Suffolk, Virginia, 23435. I'm going to say something else. But we provide all of your cancer needs as far as breast cancer and colon cancer. So we have the ostomy pouches and everything you need for that. We have breast prosthetics. We have the foams and the custom breast um, prosthetics that you can use that they were able to scan your body and make one that's just for you. Um, we also have the bras, swimsuits that you can pick out. Anything that you need for colon and breast cancer, we have it. We also have compression garments for lymphedema. We have it for your arms and your legs and actually wherever you need it because I just finished a training and I didn't know you can also get it for your head as well. So we have all types of compression garments. We have skincare. We have a skincare line here. Now, this skincare is not something you will get from a dermatologist. This is something that I use for myself and it worked. But just because it worked for me, it doesn't mean that your doctor would recommend it. So I always say, ask your doctor before you use anything, whether it's skincare, um, vitamins, or whatever. Ask your doctor or your oncologist first. But the things I have here are things that I know that's worked for myself and a few others who have tried it during chemo. So just be mindful that you still have to talk to your doctor about whatever you're using. So today I want to go ahead and talk about my advocacy program. It's a 5 course curriculum, and I always start everyone off with the intro. Now, the intro, you get a little snapshot of the rest of the classes. So I have a class specifically talking about clinical trials and research. I have a class talking about colon cancer only. I have uh, one that talk about breast cancer only because those are our main two cancers that we talk about here. Now, we do talk about other cancers as well, um, and other things that go along with the whole cancer spectrum. So don't think we only focus on breast and colon, even though that's our main thing that we do. We've also talked about uterine cancer and diabetes. We talk about that, but that's not our specialty. But we will bring other health topics up so that you'll be aware and you know how to address it with your primary care physician. All right, so my first course is called Advocate for Your Health, a journey of strength, faith, and knowledge. um, all right, so the one thing I always want to get through to anyone that I'm speaking to or having a one-on-one consult with is that your health is your wealth. Most of us think that wealth goes as far as like money or whatever. Don't get me wrong, you need money to pay your bills and stuff. I get that. But if you're healthy and you've never had to deal with diabetes, hypertension, cancer, or any of that, and you are like really healthy, that's a great thing. That is where your wealth should be rooted in, is your health. All right. So we're talking about you may be looking at this, wondering, well, what does she know about cancer? Like, how's she gonna tell me? Well, I was diagnosed twice with cancer. I had breast cancer and colon cancer, both before the age of diagnosis. My mom also passed with uterine cancer from complications of uterine cancer. And I had several family members and friends who've had different forms of cancer that I was a firsthand witness of and, lost. And it it hurts. So I got tired of not being able to do anything. And that's when embarked on this journey to try to help as many people as I can, um, know what to ask and how to go about getting through their journey as well. Um, and also, my courses, although I give you all of the medical stuff, I also give you Bible verses to go with it. So it's faith based because a lot of people that I've came across over the years of advocating would tell me things like, well, I'm just going to pray and put it in God's hands. And yes, please pray and put it in God's hands. But God always, God also said, faith without work is dead. So you can pray and, just ignore what the issue is going on in your body. But God also gave us this temple to take care of. And you can't take care of it without going to the doctor. The same way you get your oil changed in your car, you get it tuned up every so many miles. You need to do that with your body. All right. God entrusted you with your life, and He expects you to do things to make sure you're able to live and complete His will and not your own. So when I think of my mom, I thought of Proverbs 31:25-31 because that was her in a nutshell. She advocated for herself. She was misdiagnosed so many times that by the time she was diagnosed with the right thing, it was advanced and it was very grim, and they didn't expect her to be there the next year, but she outlived what they expected. So, and it was only because she did pray and put it in God's hands, but she also did the work and she advocated for herself and she went to those appointments and she did what the doctor suggested she did. She also would change doctors if they didn't talk right, if they act like they didn't know what was going on. She did the work to make it to that next level. And because of that, she was here years past what they thought she was going to be. So, yes, you have faith, you pray, you put it in God's hands. But when you put that in God's hands, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to work. You're going to have to advocate for yourself. You're going to have to go to the doctors. You're going to have to get testing done. You're going to have to get blood drawn so they can make sure that what they're doing is making you feel better. All right. So also, if you was to get me to come out and speak to your group, you'll be getting, along with the intro, I talk about Henrietta Lacks. She was born in Roanoke, Virginia, which is about, depending on where you are in Hampton Roads, about 3 to 4 hour drive in Roanoke. And once she became an adult, she moved to the DC area with her husband. And, they had kids or whatever, and that's where they stayed in the DC, Baltimore area, I think. So before she got pregnant with her last child, she felt something was going wrong with her body. She went to the doctor several times, and she was diagnosed with stuff like sexual transmitted diseases, other stuff that they were giving her medicine for, but it really wasn't what she had. So then she gets pregnant, And when she was pregnant with her youngest son, she kept saying she felt something else. And they didn't pay attention. They just said, "Oh, you're pregnant." They didn't really listen to her. After she had her baby, she still felt it. So she had went home, and if you get the book or um, if you read the book or look at the movie, you will see what she do. I'm not even going to give you the details, but she felt her tumor, and she went to back to the doctor and told the doctor where to find her tumor. Can you imagine going to the doctor saying the tumor is right here to the left, go up 3 inches, but she had to tell the doctor where to find the tumor. And when he looked where she told him, that's when he found out she had cervical cancer. And it was a purplish tumor, the way the book described it. And he took cells from that and put it in a Peachtree dish. And to his surprise, it multiplied. And that had never happened before. They've tried multiplying people's cells before and it never worked. Well, here they are, this poor black lady from Roanoke, Virginia, moved to the DC area, then to Baltimore, whatever, wherever. Her cells was able to live in this peach, peach, petri dish, and they expanded, they multiplied. Those cells became known as HeLa cells, the only immortal cells on the face of this planet. They were able to do every type of vaccination from a black woman's cells. So anyone who's got like the polio vaccination, actually any vaccinations that the United States require for kids to go to school, they were created from HeLa cells. Neat, huh? They was created from HeLa cells. The first baby at the Jones Institute that was created from like artificial insemination was done with HeLa cells. Pretty much any dynamic thing that happened in medicine that requires some type of medicine, um, treatments, whatever, came through HeLa cells. Cells that was taken without her permission to create billions of dollars in revenue, but her family couldn't even afford the medicines that their loved ones' cells created. Go figure. Her daughter had high blood pressure and had heart issues. The medicine she was taking came from her mama, and she had to pay for it. And there was times when she couldn't even afford it, so she would ration herself out the medicine because it was so expensive. And I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, how did she feel knowing that this medicine is here because of her mom? I don't know how I would feel about that. I think I would feel some kind of way if I had to pay for something my mom that was made from my mom's body that's saving my life today. And I didn't get not one penny. I didn't get any recognition. My mom didn't get any recognition. And people are making money off of HeLa sales because they can. I would feel some kind of way about that. Something else that you will hear me talking about is the Tuskegee Airmen and the science experiment that was done on them. And I believe the last person had that was affected by that was one of the kids of one of the airmen. I think it was in the early 2000s or late 1900s something, passed away. Um, but they got medical for the rest of everybody who was affected got medical for the rest of their life because of that. And you may be asking, why is she talking about those two things? Because in my intro, I talk about the lack of trust A lot of people don't understand why minorities have a lack of trust in the medical system. And it's stories like these that we know about. I do go in a little bit more deeper conversation when I remember hearing my grandparents talk about, how doctors used to do, people in their generation and things. And you do understand why they have a fear. And the fear trickled down to their offsprings because how do you get stories, about word of mouth? That's very powerful. So if you have a great 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 grandparent that died at the negligence of a medical professional back in the 1930s or 40s, guess what? Those stories get told down from generation to generation, and we don't forget. And when you tell something like that, it's almost like playing the telephone game. By the time it gets to the last person, it's changed a little bit. So, can you imagine how much it changed from when the original person back in the 20s or the 30s told their kids to my generation? I'm pretty sure some of the stories changed drastically, but the the sense of the story is still there. You kind of got an idea of what happened in hopes of it didn't totally change, but you knew somewhere back in those days somebody did something wrong that caused the death of your great 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 grandparent, and it got back to you how it happened or similar to how it happened. So that's why you have a lot of mistrust in the medical professional because of stories like Henrietta Lacks and the Tuskegee Airmen and the other personal stories that's getting told every day to each generation to let them know, make sure you do this and make sure you do that. Because this happened to, somebody you never met, but they're still in your family and you still heard the story. All right, so something else that you would know or get exposed to with me coming in doing my intro is genetic and clinical, genetic testing and clinical trials. You'll get detailed information about that. Um, Clinical trials is a pathway to better healthcare. You may be sitting there wondering, wow, why is that a better pathway? I don't want nobody to experiment on me. Well, the reason is when new medicine is tested, they're mainly tested on people who sign up to do trials and things to see how it will work with certain DNA. If you don't have anyone that look like you, and I don't mean family wise, I mean your ethnic background and all that good stuff, we wouldn't know how it would work on you because the same way it worked on someone who's like Hispanic or Caucasian or um, someone else, it may not work the same way on African Americans or Haitian or Jamaican and all that good stuff. So you need to have a good amount of people to know how certain medicines would work because not all medicine work for everybody. And it could be something as simple as your genetic makeup and informed consent. Now, here's another thing. Back when the Tuskegee Airmen was going through their issues, they didn't have informed consent. Okay. Informed consent is something the government made for to protect the rights of the everyday person. Okay. You may hear something called an IRB, which is something that's needed that researchers need to do and complete, and you need to see it. You ask for it, and you also sign off on informed consent so that they don't do anything illegal. They're not putting something in your body that you don't know about or something that can harm you. They're doing everything by the book. All right. So you will also hear me tell you multiple times that you have the power. And you may be sitting there asking, what power do I have? you have the power over all of your medical treatment. You can go get second opinions. You can ask questions. You can fire your primary care physician. You can fire any medical person that you want that you feel like is not treating you right. The same way you go in Walmart and expect to buy a dozen of eggs or whatever. If you go in there and every time you buy your eggs they're broken, you're not going to keep going to that Walmart. You're going to take those eggs back and go somewhere else. So have that same logic when you go into your medical team. They need to be treating you with respect, courtesy, and make sure they're protecting your privacy. And if they're talking to you a certain way that you don't like, or if they're talking down to you, if they're not listening, that's the key word. They need to listen to you. If you feel like none of that is being done and, you know, you have a second thoughts, get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your life. You only get one. So I will give you firsthand information on getting second opinions. Let me see. Faith in healthcare. I talked about this a little bit earlier about why my advocacy program is faith based. Is because we were told, you know, God told us take care of your temple. I mean, it's just simple as that. Take care of your temple. Um, if you need a Bible verse for that, because I know some of y'all out there be like, well, where say that in the Bible? Well, you can go to James 2:26, and let's see, that's the only one. That's the one where it said faith without work is dead. And you compare your faith with your action. And now you may be wondering, well, do my doctor need to be a Christian or need to believe in what I believe in? No, they don't. Um, you can't force your faith on others, but at the end of the day, it's like the icing on the cake. If your doctor is a Christian and you know they pray or whatever, but you're looking at their skills. Okay, you're doing the research on your doctor or your surgeon. Look at their skills, and they have to publicize that. You know, so research them and make sure that they can do what you need them to do, and you can handle the faith part. You know, because you can pray over that room, you can do whatever you want to, and but just make sure your doctor have the skills to do what you need them to do. All right. So your health plan. I will also go into detail about that as far as what you need for your health plan. I can't stress enough to ask questions. We don't know it all, you know, and sometimes your doctors are not even gonna know it all. They're gonna tell you, well, I have the question to that within 24 hours, or when you come back to your next appointment, I'll let you know. But they're not gonna know all the answers to your questions, but ask questions and document what they tell you. Um, oh my goodness, know your family history. It is so hard to pinpoint what each family had prior to you. If your family have a history of hypertension, find out why. You know, well, first you need to find out if who had it. Um, the only down part is a lot of times with African Americans, um, on the death certificate, it will have something general. It don't have like exactly what was, if it was cancer. It wouldn't, some of them wouldn't say what type of cancer it was. It would just say cancer or complications of heart, heart something, something. So it's not straightforward on some people's death certificates. That's why you need to have an open conversation with the elders in your family before it's too late. We was blessed to have my great granddad and my grandma till they were in their 90s, you know. So we were able to get a lot of information on the generations before my great granddad, before he passed. So, and we still don't have concrete proof. We're going by word of mouth from our elders. So it'd be nice to have like concrete proof. But if you don't, go by word of mouth, and then you can pull the death certificates and try to piece together what was told to you from the elders and what's listed on the death certificate, so you can have a good idea of what kind of medical history your family had. And we've talked about, and you can get your genetic testing, participate in clinical trials, and request medical records. You can request medical records, okay? Make sure you do. Everybody should know what's in their medical record. And especially now that everybody have an app where you can download it and go through your medical record. I suggest everybody do that. And of course, get second opinions, um, seek wisdom. Um, I talk about Proverbs 4 and 7. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom. Point and simple. See, I told y'all we can relate this to the Bible, and um, throughout the Bible is telling you how to take care of your body and your temple that God have given you. Um, just use your knowledge to protect yourself and others and advocate for others. Um, Also, when you book me, you will have a workbook, and it's a guide to navigating to not navigate advocating for your health. And there's also a section for final reflection, and up there you can put anything you want, like the actions you're going to take to move forward to your to advocating for yourself or for someone else. The main idea of what I'm trying to do is just to give the knowledge to communities who wouldn't have it otherwise, or who don't feel comfortable asking in a doctor's office or whatever, because it can be intimidating. You're in there and they're throwing all this stuff at you, and they're trying to be um, courteous and patient, but you have to realize they say this all the time, that sometimes they get immune to it. So it may come off as them being insensitive, but I don't think it is. It's just they're used to saying the words, you have cancer or you have hypertension, and this how we're going to fix it, and this what we're going to do. So give them a little bit of grace, but they still need to be courteous and professional. But just don't take it as people talking at you because they have all the patients throughout the day, and that's still not an excuse. You're still supposed to be treated with professionalism and courtesy and empathy. But again, some doctors, we all have bad days. They are only human, like we are. So I pray that you would never get that side of a doctor. But if you do, and you're not able to work it out with them, it's okay to go to another doctor. It's okay. No one is perfect, not even medical professionals. You have some that's great at their job, great at making you feel like you are that one patient of theirs. And then you have others, not so much. So go to my website, pinkslayer.org. I have a wealth of information that I can bring to your community, or you can come here, 3920 A Suite 305, Bridge Road in Suffolk. And it was good giving you guys all this information. And if you need more, please contact me, and I will see you soon.